Chapter 2. Jimmy and Micah came around later that day and the next day after that, but I refused to speak to them. Maybe they were used to burying servants in their backyard, but I certainly wasn't. Besides, they hadn't seen Gacy's face while she was burying me alive. "Isn't Crewe wonderful?" my father kept saying. I thought bitterly of Gacy Cutter. If only he knew. No, not all of Crewe was wonderful. But my father didn't have time to think about the dreadful woman down the street, and I hadn't told him. He was a busy man. As much as I knew he loved me and Biddy, he had a singular focus for one person. Vienna. He had consulted every brain doctor on the East Coast, and then the West Coast, and I guessed that now corn country was what he considered his Hail Mary pass, the key to unlocking Vienna's memories. He theorized that familiar settings and people could rewire her brain, and her brain was capable of healing itself. Since I believed in my father more than I believed in anything, I let him think that. And truly, I didn't mind moving. I liked New York, okay. It had been my home for as long as I could remember, but it was also associated with the heaviest sadness of my life. Iowa was an exciting and fresh start, like the Witness Protection Program. Biddy and I had imagined we'd have fields to run through, silver lunch pails, and warm home-cooked dinners that tasted nothing like the reheated hospital food we often ate. We would make friends with blue jays and field mice and keep cheeping bullfrogs in our pockets. Sure, I would miss my old friends, including prosecuting attorney Georgia File, whom I considered a true ally. But I was most sorry to leave behind Lolly, Moose, and Tomato. As one of Vienna's first nurses at home and then at her care centers, Lolly was the closest thing we'd had to a mother. Moose and Tomato were her twin miniature schnauzers, and that went everywhere with her. So, we were practically siblings. "I wish you could come too," I had said more than once as we were getting ready to leave. Lolly shook her head. "Honey, my heart just hurts thinking about you leaving me, but I've got a husband to feed and a grandbaby on the way. I guess I'll have to stay around here." I tried not to resent the grandbaby part. Biddy and I were Lolly's grandbabies. She had cradled, comforted, and read to us. She'd taken more grief from Vienna than anyone deserved. And through it all, Lolly loved my mother fiercely. If I were to tell a secret, I'd whisper that I'd rather have moved to Iowa with Lolly than Vienna. And since there were no subway systems in Iowa, we bought our first car for the trip. It was a scarlet red, of course, because red was Vienna's favorite color. "Most people in Iowa own a car," my father said, stuffing more bags into the trunk. "Next, you'll be riding a tractor," Lolly said, "and some cows." I became instantly fixated on the cow. "I need a cow of my very own," I declared, imagining myself arriving on the first day of school riding a cow, Queen Guinevere atop her royal bovine. "I hate cows," Vienna said, watching us pack. "You can't hate cows. You're from Iowa. You were probably a farmer and went to cow shows," I said. "I hate cows." "Do not. Do too." "I cannot abide this conversation," my father said, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Guinevere, your mother truly does not like cows. They scared her as a child. Could you please not be an agitator?" I frowned. 5 minutes later, Vienna had forgotten our conversation entirely until I mooed. "Moo! I hate cows," she said. My father gave me the look of death. So I bowed my head and mooed silently out of principle. And so it was, in the middle of a sweltering July, that we left our school friends, but also our best friends, the doctors, therapists, and brain specialists we saw every day, for the big Midwest sky, somewhere in the middle of America. We bravely said goodbye to Lolly, but I'll admit to tears when I looked back and saw her growing smaller and smaller. "I'll come visit," she promised. "See if your mama still remembers me." Yeah, good luck with that. We drove through New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and finally, Iowa. The trip put 1,200 miles on the odometer, and my father got a speeding ticket on Interstate 74, but the closer we got to Corn, the more relaxed he became. "Where are we going?" Vienna asked. "Neverland, of course," I said, looking out the window. Usually my father did not allow us to lie to Vienna, but even he had a soft spot for Peter, Wendy, and the Lost Boys. "And Nana will be there!" Biddy clapped her hands over her mouth and giggled at the great luck of having a grandmother named after the character of our favorite story, even if the character was the dog. Vienna grabbed my father's arm and said in her soft-spoken voice, "I love Neverland. Can we go right now?" He smoothed her blonde curls and smiled. Vienna clapped her hands like a small child because this was who she was now, a child whose memory no longer included me or Biddy. We were the lost children in her Neverland. When we passed a sign that said, "Welcome to Crewe, population 4,261, I began to sniff. "What's that smell?" My father laughed. "Who likes cows now?" "I hate cows," said Vienna. I kicked the back of her seat. Eventually, we drove into Crewe, a small town that followed the lazy, meandering Crewe River. At first glance, the river ran slow and deliberate, but underneath I could see the swirling of an undercurrent. This gave me a secret thrill. We pulled up in front of a large white farmhouse. As Nana came down her tidy flower path, with an obvious effort to remain calm, she gingerly embraced her daughter. "Where's Dad?" Vienna asked immediately. Nana smiled and redirected. "I'm so glad you've come home, darling." We entered the living room. My father took in the wallpaper, the old-fashioned giant pink, red, and yellow roses on all four walls. "I wanted to change it several times," Nana said quickly, "but I thought I shouldn't." My father smiled. "Thank you, Nancy. Familiarity is just what she needs." I could see his pleasure when Vienna smiled at the old photographs on the walls and the hand-sewn doilies on every surface, and when she ran her fingers over the piano, Nana was at her side. I just had it tuned so you could play." Vienna sat and played a song from memory, something that always struck me as all wrong. The way her brain could remember music, not people. Her fingers were uncoordinated and spastic, moving more like webbed duck feet, and yet she could remember the notes and finger positions. Often her clumsiness caused frustration and tears, but not this time. She sat and played a disjointed Chopin, while Nana stood, clasped both hands to her chest, as if to protect her heart. Instead of listening, Biddy and I went upstairs to see our new room. We would be sharing Vienna's old bedroom and the same lovely white furniture handpicked by Nana for her 5 daughters, all of whom shared the room at one time or another. It even had the same old-fashioned pink and white flowered bedspread Vienna had once slept under. I would have preferred stripes. So many people came over to welcome my parents back to Crewe that first day that "those poor, poor children" echoed through the hall nonstop. To prove otherwise, I skipped through the house and laughed extra loud until Nana said I sounded more demented than happy. And that first night, our father stayed with us until we were almost asleep before heading out to check on Vienna. No surprise, she was having trouble adjusting to her new residence, a small care center in town. Perhaps one day soon, my father postulated, Vienna might be ready to try an overnight visit again. All of us together again like a normal family. Poor Jed, St. Clair. How could he forget the disastrous results of those New York experiments? Like the time Vienna forgot she was banned from using the gas stove and singed her eyebrows off. He tucked us into a double bed, turned out the light, then paused to sit. Little Biddy put her arms around my neck, and I started my usual story. Peter came to the window, I whispered, because it was Wendy's last night in the nursery. Nana was tied outside. Biddy giggled again. And when they flew to Neverland, Wendy with the yellow hair found the lost boys. Wendy with the yellow hair, Biddy whispered. Yes, I said. All night Wendy told stories to the lost boys. She sang and rocked them to sleep until they remembered their mothers again. Then all the boys wanted to go home too and not be lost any more. Biddy sucked her thumb and fell asleep beside me. Soon I was on my own Neverland slumber too, hovering between the real world and my imaginary one, where our father never sat all alone on the edge of my bed.